Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. Today, I'd like to talk about why pain pays the bills and why aspiration builds business. Now, this is something, so today's topic for the live has been triggered during one of the live trainings I had this week with the Wellness Consultant Blueprint students. And it's also something I have struggled with or I've had challenges with during my 18 years of being a consultant and helping both my landowner clients build properties with integrated wellness offerings and also wellness leaders within the Wellness Asset Academy and now the Wellness Consultant Blueprint. And that is more the business principles behind creating a wellness business. Now, it's age old advice that the market needs to have a problem and you need to solve the problem. And you definitely do get quick results when you have that fit. So I'll give an example. My car kept on breaking down, poor car, 17 years old. And I remembered I was trying to find a place that would actually fix this gearbox of an automatic car that was 17 years old, and also the model of the Mercedes that was, no longer being made. And it was so hard to find a mechanic who wanted to do that. And when I did, they had such a long wait list. It was amazing. And I looked at them and I just saw the way they treated me. They weren't treating me bad or anything of the sort, but it was sloppy. And even the work they did was sloppy. I mean, as soon as I was driving out after they had finished the works, my car stopped. So I had to go back and leave the car another month over there. And they just had such a long queue that they honestly didn't care about the quality of the work they did. And they also had like a waiting list. So I sat there thinking, how lucky are these people? How lucky would it be to have a business that you just have this long wait list that people are calling you and you can afford to not pick up the phone. You can afford to do a sloppy job, give a guarantee, then fix it and take your sweet time because the client has such a deep pain and what you offer is the solution to the deep pain. And I've always thought, wow, I wish I entered that market. Why did I choose such a difficult market like wellness and that also in hospitality? Because it's been one amazing roller coaster ride. And while I was sitting with my students, during the live training, this subject came up. So, how do I create my signature offer funnel and what should I base it on? What is the market looking for? And I told them what business advice I was given in a masterclass. And that is also the advice I give my very astute clients who are owners of pieces of land and want to build a property with an integrated wellness offering. And that is, you can do this both ways, and both ways are valid. There is no right or wrong. You can either solve the problem or the pain a client has, or you can sell them an aspiration. And I'll go deeper into that. So normally you find the majority of spas, and I've done that too. So this is not trying to say that how we do things in our spas is wrong because we clearly need to have businesses that solve problems and we have money coming in. So someone has a tight back or is suffering burnout or is stressed. They all have a well-being related problem. They're coming to us for deep introspection, or they're looking to get something fixed, or they just need that me time. So it's a problem they have, and sometimes it's a real pain. and they need that short term relief. And some are also willing to spend the time and energy it takes to have a long term solution to their problem. And that is how wellness is built. And we do talk a lot about how wellness is preventive. But in all fairness, most of the properties I've seen and where I've been a wellness director and myself creating those wellness offerings, so I'm not going to, take myself off the hook. It's been reactive to a different extent. I wouldn't say that reactive as the medical field, but if you're ill, the medical field fixes you. And in our wellness centers, if you have a headache, postural issues, insomnia, any form of stress, or you're trying to just find a deeper meaning, we fix those well-being related issues we might have, physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental health issues that we might have. We fix them. And albeit a more holistic approach to how we solve people's well-being related problems. And that's very valid. And I've built my business in these 18 years where people have had a specific problem or pain. So, what does that look like? I don't know how to build a wellness facility, but I want a great wellness facility. So, they have quite a specific problem that needs solving. And I've always offered that solution. But then in one of my masterminds, they talked about how pain definitely does pay your bills. You need your proof of concept fast and you need to offer people what they want to buy. There does have to be that problem solution fit. Because if someone doesn't perceive their problem or they don't think it's a problem, no matter how amazing your solution is, it simply won't work. You won't get the money coming in. But when someone comes past your doors for the pain, once that pain is fixed, they're gone. So it's a transaction. But when you're helping people who are already whole and thriving, and you're helping them become, for example, a better version of themselves, or you have someone who has a thriving wellness offering and they want to take it to the next level, what you have there is a client that's deeply engaged. They're already doing the basics right. What they want is to go to the next level. And that is where you have the opportunity to build true loyalty. And this is what we could call the need and opportunity gap. So people want or have that need to go to the next level. So it's not really a problem or a pain that they have. And they want to tap into that better version. They want to create that legacy they want to leave behind. So they're ready to run the miles. They're ready to pay what they need to pay to become that version of themselves that has created the legacy they want, or they're creating the product or offering that is changing people's lives, is impacting them beyond the mere transaction of I have a problem and you solved it. Sore back, you've given me a fantastic massage. I feel happy again. And you can have the same solution elsewhere in the world, but there is no emotional bond or there's no loyalty built. So, what I'd like to talk about today is why this happens and why our traditional model of business might, yes, help us pay the bills, but it won't keep us from building a business or a legacy that can grow exponentially further down the road. Because here's what happens when you actually build your business or your entire offering around solving a problem or helping someone fix their pain, the pain or the quick fix creates urgency. So clients will pay to stop that bleeding and then they leave. And it's all transactional at the end. But when you're offering someone the opportunity to transform themselves, over there, you are helping them build an identity. And when clients see themselves as part of something bigger, a movement, a philosophy, a way of leaving the world better than they found it, they will stay, they will refer, and they will renew. And the question is, how do you get away from that transactional based relationship and move into this relationship where your clients come back again and again? But once they've transformed, that is also when they return to go to the next level of transformation. And that is what you do that through what I call the value iceberg. Now, you would have heard me talk a lot about the value iceberg, where how most of us in the industry, and you can even extrapolate that to any business, but within wellness, we're normally at the tip of the iceberg, the part that is the most visible. And we're always looking at what individual elements can we add, the brands, the treatments, the pieces of equipment, latest trends. That is all very visible. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be focusing on those elements, but what happens is we end up creating our entire offering around the bling, around the individual elements. And that is what I call the tools of wellness. But the irony is when we're at the top, at the tip of the iceberg, there is precisely where we get hit the hardest by external market conditions. So if you think of the iceberg, just a normal iceberg, the tip is the one that's hit the hardest by extreme climate changes. It's the first that also melts. And when we build everything, our entire wellness offering around that tool that solves a specific pain or problem, then we risk getting hit hard by external market conditions. We risk having an offering that becomes obsolete after a few years. And we risk becoming that transactional point for our clients. So we just get lost in the sea of sameness. But once we start going deeper and trying to understand our guests' well-being goals, now this is for property owners who want to build wellness offerings and they're speaking to the end client, but this is equally valid for wellness leaders who want to create the consulting businesses. The moment you start looking at the goals your client, be it the end client or whatever B2B organization, once you start looking at what goals are they trying to achieve, that is when you start going below the surface and you start helping them attract proud people who want to work in their facilities, deliver their guests transformative experiences, or if you're a consultant, deliver your clients the transformative experiences they're looking for, and also enjoy businesses that are commercially sustainable. But once you start thinking about the impact, about the transformation that your clients are looking for, that is when you actually get to the base and you're talking to their aspiration, what they truly, deeply want. So they're no longer desperate to get rid of a pain or to solve a problem. They're looking for something far more meaningful in order to become that next version, in order to create the legacy they want. So when we are building our wellness offerings, we go under the umbrella of how wellness has holistic therapies, how we are preventive. But if we actually take a deep dive into our offering, we will see that we're fundamentally solving a problem, trying to fix a pain, be it short term reprieve or long term reprieve. At the end of the day, people are coming to us because they're either rudderless or they have some form of pain. But once you start focusing, let's say on people who are already thriving, but they want to become a better version of themselves. They want to maintain their health for a longer time. So everything that goes under the umbrella of longevity, not the fancy word that's probably being thrown at, but whatever gives your health the longevity, the future where you can thrive for longer and live better, that is what moves people. That is what makes people come back again and again. So pain does pay bills, and I am all for that. And I do think we are leaving aside a market if we're not helping our consumers solve a problem they have. But I think we're also missing the bigger picture if we don't also speak to their aspiration, to make them step into versions of their well being they never, ever even thought possible. And that is that need and opportunity match. And that's something our wellness offerings need to work more on. And as a wellness leader who wants to set up a consulting business, think that for your clients. What else can you offer them that's just not solving their problems? It's helping them build the legacy they want to build. They're already doing hospitality and wellness perfectly. There's not much more. You can help them better. When they're at that state, when they're no longer desperate, that is the opportunity to do very deep work that creates that loyalty. So I just thought I'd jump on today and talk about that difference because it was something that came up in the live training. And it's something I've also struggled with in my business. When I started in wellness, having my own consulting business 18 years ago, wellness is definitely not what it is today. And it was very, very, but very hard to sell services to hoteliers, even to the end client at the end of the day. And there simply wasn't that problem solution fit because hoteliers didn't think they had a problem. And back then, many of the Gen X and baby boomers weren't 100% spending on their health. They didn't see it as a burning problem. So there was no problem solution fit, which meant that business was hard in the beginning. And now, when we are living such an amazing time in the world where wellness is definitely front and center, and we are seeing wellness being implemented for longevity, that is when we're taking our industry to a completely different level. And when you enhance someone's well being, not just fix their well being related problems, but when you allow them to be a stronger, more powerful version of themselves, that transformation builds a level of loyalty that simple problem solution fit never does. So when you're building your business, even if you're a landowner trying to create a wellness offering, or You're a wellness leader trying to build your consulting business. I'd strongly recommend to look at both options. Have offerings that are that problem solution fit, because you do need to cater to that market too, but also have something that's far more aspirational. And that is what's going to build that loyalty. That is what's going to build clients coming back again and again and again because they want to transform themselves to the next level. They want to create a more meaningful legacy. So, on that note, I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. Take care now.